Honecker, I can understand what you thought maybe what was going to happen. Try again. Don't ever have to worry about what you wanted to say the first time you wanted to say something different. So anyone ever had to worry about what you were going to do, what you were going to say, what you wanted to be, where you wanted to become from? Coming from a different kind of place in a different kind of a world that you thought every time I looked different. You didn't understand that if Superman ever had some kind of a Dragon Ball Z fight, the stumbling step was going to change how his enemy moved. So whatever it was, you thought something was different when he took a kung fu stance or something like that. But what, hovering there and crossing your arms wasn't one? The whole world is changing, and these worlds that you have combined in what kind of a world that you wanted to be a part of. Didn't have to be there and didn't have to understand exactly what you wanted to say to me or what you wanted to say to anyone else. And what you wanted to say to anyone else never had to be a worry that your world wasn't going to be coming together, and you never had to worry about what was going to happen. But if you guys don't know who the new Avatar is, sure enough, some kind of legend called Simba. And that's right, it's a big deal. Everybody wants to freak out, but no one ever has to worry about whether or not you thought I was who I said I was, and whether or not The Lion King 2 was real. The Lion King 2, I mean. The Lion King also is real, but Lion King 2 is not. So don't worry about it. The whole world that you're going to live a part in didn't have to understand what you were going to be able to do, and what you wanted to look at, and what you wanted to see, and where you wanted to come from, what you wanted to have. But every kind of a world that you wanted to say Superman could be here, and you needed to understand what I meant to be in some kind of a world that you never thought I was going to be a part of anyway in the first place. Some kind of a paradise that you wanted to believe in, some kind of a paradise that you wanted to be a part of, some type later on that we could ever have to have here in this kind of a world, then you didn't have to understand what I was and where I was when I thought I should be something else. But you never had to understand where I was to become something else entirely. And these whole worlds and ours combined could never really have to be exactly what you wanted us to understand. But no one was really going to believe that I was a person. But why? So saying enough about what you wanted to be and what you wanted to do and what you wanted to scream at and what you wanted to sing through and what you wanted to be and where you wanted to think about and what you wanted to do and what you wanted to think, where you wanted to think and what you wanted to do. Where did you come from? Where did you go? What did you wanted to say? Wanted to say which way? This one, first one, second time anyway? These whole worlds that they could combine for us. These. See, if you screw up right away, right after you did, you don't have to worry about how sure you were. When you said C, they would believe it was really something you meant to do. Go ahead and try again, though, anytime you wanted to. Just say, try again. And never say where you wanted to go, where you wanted to be, what you wanted to become, or what you wanted to do, or where you thought you might have to become in a different kind of a world. But you never had to understand what I was and where I said I was going to be. But any kind of a secret identity I had, you never had to understand who I was and what I wanted to be and where I wanted to say. Because I have enough friends in the world saying, sure, I'm Spartacus, what are you doing? What did you think was going to happen? When these worlds changed and our worlds combined up into a world where you can understand that commercial entertainment across the planet is done for. That these worlds could change and what you thought about commercial entities in general after entertainment goes away and you don't really think there's any goodwill left over in that entire field. You could believe that the Avatar was telling stories from the myth state and there's a world where you can understand the myth state. Well, hang on a second. You didn't know a very ancient title for me is myth. And I did create the Avatar state, so give me a little bit of credit with what I say and what I do and which order that you thought I was going to be in. He's telling myth from the Avatar state. So understand that any kind of a reality you wanted to be a part of never had to be exactly what you wanted to be there in the reality where you didn't understand that every time you wanted to believe you could do what you wanted to say. Every time you wanted to say anything about what you did because it was doing something in the first place that made you say it, or what you said wasn't what you did separately, they're apart from, again, into some kind of a different ordering. So believe that these worlds wouldn't have to combine exactly what you wanted to believe in, but that I could be someone else you thought entirely, or maybe you thought that there's a kind of a reality where you didn't think I was more than one person while I was Superman the whole time. In someone else's world, maybe you didn't have to believe that I wasn't going to be in trouble with anyone else. But everybody who said that you couldn't do something different never really had to believe that I was going to be in trouble or you were going to be there, and everybody had to understand that I wasn't going to get in trouble anyway, so don't worry about it. And I'm going to have to understand what you thought I said when my husband said, oh, sure enough, this isn't Superman, it's Supergirl. I have to tell you about what she said. I don't have super hearing? Get over yourself, I do. Hey, this is Clark, and I'm going to impersonate Kara for a minute. So when you had to believe what he said, when he said that you never had to believe who you are and what you wanted to say and where you wanted to come from and what you wanted to do and where you wanted to believe that you could be, and in some kind of a world that you never had to think that I ever had to be some kind of a different kind of a person, then you didn't really have to understand what was going to happen when I never really had to believe who you are and what I wanted to say and where you wanted to be and why she couldn't run right here and sit in front of this microphone like I'm doing and tell you a stupid kind of a story where you didn't think that a boy could talk like, what, his friends? Didn't understand any kind of a reality. This is Gohan still, and I'm just really impersonating. I'm not listening to her voice. Well, like, I'm thinking about her, so, like, what did you think was happening? These whole worlds that you ever had to believe in didn't have to be a different kind of a part of what you wanted to say and where you wanted to be, where you wanted to go to, and what you wanted to think about doing some other time. I was saying super think about, and I said it really fast. You didn't get my just think about. So anyone who ever wanted to think about what was going to happen, and I didn't really understand what you thought I was going to do in some kind of an order or reality, but it has to be impossible for you to think that it was really that cool. So never have to understand what you thought I wanted to be and where you thought I wanted to come from. Wanted to think is this way, after ways, sure ways. Yes, I messed up, you're sure. I'm right. Anyway, some other time, every other kind of an equation you have never had to believe in, and every other kind of a place you wanted to be a part of, you never really had to believe that I never had to be anything other than what I wanted to be, which is some other kind of a person that sure enough you would never really think that I have to worry about. So never have to worry about where you are and what you wanted to come from or what you wanted to do, because no one ever had to understand what you were doing in the first place. And no one ever had to understand why you thought I could do anything I ever wanted to do, but I can destroy the entire planet. But what are you talking about? Do you understand what that kind of a world is and what kind of a world I needed to be a part of to even exist well enough to do anything? These whole worlds that you have depicted of some kind of a Superman versus a Goku fight, it just doesn't exist, because the Superman without the powers that you wanted doesn't have to have the world that you wanted to be a part of for Superman to be in. There's monsters doing sociopath images, and it doesn't make sense. You think you can separate power from personality, but the personality of Goku, the personality of what I am, doesn't create power. It is power. What are you doing exactly? Anything about the world that you thought you were going to be a part of, and any kind of a reality beyond what you thought was cool, and wherever you thought I could stay, some kind of a world apart from what you wanted to have in. But I don't have to try that much harder anymore. The new Avatar is alive, and you have to understand what's happening. And these worlds are changing, and what we are, and what we've done, and what we've changed. And Darkseid really is dead. So you believe that in a world that you can understand, I'll be something else for a while, and you won't see the red, blue, yellow in the skies like you thought maybe before some other day, and you don't have to worry about that, because I can be something else. I can be some kind of a person that you saw maybe depicted, but it didn't really make sense that much to have an orange helmet or anything like that. But you needed to understand that in a world where you thought Gohan wasn't going to be the one who was leading those teenagers is insane. But if you thought I ever had to lose my powers, I could fight putties with a bow staff all day long. So never have to worry about who you are and where I wanted to be and what you wanted to hear in Legends and where you wanted to go for and what you wanted to think about any other time and any other kind of a equation, other kind of a places, other kind of a things, other kind of a world. Any other time you wanted to be a part of some kind of a reality where you never had to believe that I never had to do anything important in the first place, then you didn't have to understand exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to come from. But you never really had to believe that anyone who thought I wasn't going to be able to kick the shit out of people and build Zeo crystals with my own Green Ranger crystal. Well, like, I don't know, I was leading into a narrative, but I'm not really sure what you thought the point of was beside that statement.